welcome to Saturday Night at the Movies, the podcast that celebrates classic, cult, and current films and the people that made them, and many other aspects of pop culture. I'm your host, Steve Rubin. Our producer is Ben Shrewsbury, and our signature theme was composed by Greg Lerhoff. Here it's always Saturday night, and our mission is to chronicle film and pop cultural history one memory at a time. Tonight, we're in very contemporary film country as we get to chat with the filmmakers behind Amber Alert, a spellbinding thriller from writer-director Kerry Bellessa and his wife and producing partner, Summer. Welcome, Kerry and Summer, to Saturday Night at the Movies.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
So we're a history site, so we get deep into people's histories. So the first thing I generally ask my guests is to go back in the little time machine and tell me, what was it like growing up as a kid? Were you a big movie-going kid? Was it a big thing in your family? I personally lived across the street from a movie theater for 6 years, so I was at the theater 3 times a week. What about you?
I loved movies as a kid. I went to movies all the time. In high school, I worked at various different movie theaters to see free movies. We went to the theater all the time. We had a local, it was called Cousins Video. It was a family-owned video shop in the 80s that we went to every weekend. And I was just, obsessed with movies.
Do you remember the very first movie that you can remember seeing as a kid?
I'd say I do know as a youngster, I think it was maybe 1983. I did see in theaters Return of the Jedi. I remember also vividly that my dad wanted to take me to this movie called Karate Kid, and I did not want to go. And I remember I apologized to my dad after. I was like, I love you, man. I am sorry that I didn't want to see Karate Kid because I freaking loved it. And I do remember my mom took me as a double feature. Maybe I was 5 or 6, but we saw E.T. and then we saw the Big Bird movie. So I think those were my earliest cinematic experiences as a little youngster.
What
I
about
feel
you,
like
Summer?
the first memories I have of really enjoying film, I think is the Sunday. Disney used to do these Sunday movie Disney nights.
Michael Eisner.
Yeah, with Michael
Sunday
Eisner.
night.
And I feel like it was such a bonding family experience. We always would look forward to getting together and getting to watch it together. So that's one of my first memories of film. But I also loved film and loved seeing movies.
I remember would watch those too on Sunday nights. Our family. Michael Eisner would come out and like present the movie,
Yeah.
and then yeah.
Oh, sure. I worked for him briefly. I was the unit publicist on Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice.
So I'm not even sure if he was still head of the studio then. This is 1991, but I do remember being on the lot. I don't know if you ever saw the movie, but there's this giant baby that Wayne Szalinski has made 40 feet tall, and he has a jumper that is about 14 feet high, and we had to put Jeffrey Katzenberg in the jumper for a photo idea. So it
Oh,
was,
wow.
I get very interesting requests sometimes for publicity.
That is
Well,
very.
you guys you guys have a long history now with this idea of Amber Alert, because I know that you previously made a smaller feature. Being a writer myself and being told many times, shoot something that you can go out and shoot as opposed to shoot something where you have to win the lottery to get the money. So tell me a little bit how the first Amber Alert came about, because I know that you had very little money to make it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Carrie originally had the idea.
Well, I mean, I kind of might saw it through a little, but Summer and I were together when the idea came about. It was January of 2010, and Summer and I were in LA, and we went to visit Summer's mom in Arizona. And as we were driving to Arizona, we saw an active Amber Alert that right above us. We saw it, we drove through it, and I remember like kind of gripping the wheel a little tighter. And I was like, Summers, there a bat in the back. We're going to find this car. We're going to run him off the road,
And
save
I
the
was like,
kid.
hey, I think running a car off the road if there's a kid involved is probably not the smartest idea. Like, so we went back and forth between what we would do or should do, or different opinions about what we possibly would do if we saw the car.
Yeah, and then I remember that night kind of scouring the internet about this idea of what would you do if you saw it, and like no one had done it. It was so simple. And then I called my buddy, our friend Josh, and he was like,
I love that
I
idea.
love that idea.
Let's do
That's it. And then we started working on it. And
And
then,
yeah, this idea, it could be $100 million film. And I think definitely Carrie, the first film he wanted to do it really cinematic and have cranes and
El Chivo would shoot it.
explosions and
How much experience had you both had in the film world by then? I know, Kerry, you had started to do commercial work, correct?
Yeah, I've shot a bunch of music videos, little commercials. I also art directed a TV show called Yo Gabba Gabba. Like I PA'd for years. So I felt like I knew all the, I kind of knew what was up with all the positions. And Summer's been on set since, you know,
I was young.
yeah. And so, what are you gonna say?
No, yeah. Um, he had graduated from Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, great school, but no one was, going to give us $100 million to make it.
Or even five
You
million
think? You
dollars
think?
or $1 million. So it was almost summer. Like I was like, no, we gotta wait. And at this time, like paranormal activity was kind of popular and like these found footage films. And I was like, Summer was like, that's what we should do. And I would like, she said I was probably, at a film school, all arrogant and prideful. Like, why would I do something like that?
But yeah, just waiting around, I didn't think was helpful either. So,
So
No,
it was,
no, it's kind of a throwback to Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney and the Barn. Let's put on a show.
yeah.
yeah, and it was the smartest thing, it was the best thing ever because we just went out, Summer and I, and
And Josh, with whatever money we had in our bank account, which was like
yeah,
$5,000.
we had 5 grand, and we went out, and I love it. It's a captivating.
And WME sold it for us, and it was the second most watched show on Netflix when it came out. So we felt like we won the indie lottery.
Yeah, for our
But,
little film. But
who? Go ahead. Go ahead.
we also knew that like not a ton of people knew about it or saw it, so um I don't know. We always kind of had this hope that we would like we wanted
Be able
everyone
to do it justice and do it the way he originally thought of it.
Right, right.
yeah,
Now, how does this original version compare with the newer version in terms of, I mean, the newer version is not a found footage movie. It's really a straight ahead static, I mean, you have what do they call that when it's not a found footage? It's a
like
objective camera.
original. Yeah, sure.
Objective camera. So
Yeah.
who played the two leads in the original?
Oh, Summer and our friend Chris Hill.
Mhm.
And I love that movie. Like it
For what
is,
we had and the resources we had,
and it's not even for what we had per se. It still is like it's a great film. It's like I don't know. I just have so much love for what we did. Yeah, for what we did for 5 grand. I feel like we should be writing a book instead of Robert Rodriguez about his $7,000
El
film,
Mariachi.
El Mariachi. And this was a great, there was literally, it was Summer and I and Chris. My dad came out, and then Josh. and we kind of just went through another film school because this was our first feature. We made it. We were so stoked. WME, like Summer said, got on board. And then like I knew nothing about deliverables. Like, wait, that costs like more than the film having to finish it. You know, they wanted like 35 millimeter prints, and we're like, whoa, wait, what are you talking about? So there was a great learning curve on making that film from our conception till all the way to finish it.
Now, WME is a big agency. They probably get pitched 3,000 movies a month. Why do you
Yeah.
think that? Well, first of all, how did you get into such a big agency? Did you have a connection?
We had a friend of ours. Um,
And yeah, I think we sent the trailer, we cut together a trailer and sent it to like 5 friends in the industry and said, hey, we just made this film. If there's anyone that you can think of that this might be a good fit. And that's how it got to WME.
yeah. And
Very,
so
very exciting.
I think it was kind of, in the zeitgeist of the found footage thing,
And yeah, they were able to help us out and
they
get
were
it.
able to help us out.
So
I
most
think they
people,
wanted it to be splashier, we're hoping it would have that kind of um, paranormal success, but for us, it was still a huge success, for them. I can't speak
so
on it.
most people, when you tell them you're making a movie for $5,000, say, you're crazy. Your food, your catering alone will be more than that. But when you're making this movie, first of all, who's watching the pennies? Is that you, Summer? You're the producer,
Yeah, I mean, I think together, the 3 of us
Who's
kind
right?
of went,
the 3 of us?
me, you, and Josh.
Oh yeah, Josh has
When,
no producing capabilities. So when you say that, you freak me out because Josh
well,
does not care.
So
we all,
what was Josh's part on the show
For which one?
for the
The first
first
one?
one?
Oh, Josh helped write it, and then Josh edited it, and Josh did get put money in with us. Like he is kind of
visual effects. He does
visual
also.
effects. He also colored the film. So he's like a huge part. I mean, he does everything with us just when it comes to like the production. He hates being on set. He just is like doesn't he's funny that way. He's brilliant, but he just kind of doesn't like to deal with the bureaucracy of things.
Interesting.
So
So
yeah.
how big a crew did you have?
For the first one it was just us. Chris, the other actor,
Who
Two
was
of
your
your cousins.
2 of my cousins, even Josh was working at the time.
And
Kerry?
Um,
Were you your own cinematographer?
I was, but I have too much respect for cinematographers, so I put my fake ID in high school. Kendall Hurley was the cinematographer, but it was me. But I used a pseudonym. I didn't use my name as the cinematographer.
So when I made a short film, it was it's the decision to direct something because I felt I should direct something because someday I might have the opportunity to direct something and I don't want to tell somebody I've never directed anything. So the first thing I said is, I've got to get a crane, thinking that every filmmaker has to have a crane. Of course, they don't tell you that it takes 3 hours to set up this crane shot. So, I mean, I think you said earlier that you didn't have the money to get a crane, correct?
yeah,
Yes.
and I think that's why we're able to do it for so little money is because, the found footage feel is like I picked up a camera. We're just capturing what we're capturing as regular people. And I think for that film, it made it scarier because a lot of people thought it was real.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so that went with our budget. It made sense.
Yeah.
No, speaking of cameras, this wasn't an iPhone movie. It was, what
No,
kind of
it's
We
camera did
shot
you
on a
use?
Canon 7D.
yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
got it, got it.
That we already had.
But yeah,
Well,
we spent some of our money to buy like a light for it, a couple extra SD cards, things like
so
that.
you said Netflix bought it?
Yeah,
No,
well, they did a licensing deal or
yeah, I don't know because our distributor is
handled that.
our characters, and so I don't know the specifics, but it was the second most watched film in February of I think 2014. behind House of Cards.
That's fabulous. So now you've done this, and you decide that obviously it's been out there, so you have a piece of material that has generated a lot of heat. How does it get to Lionsgate to get a new version made?
Well, yeah,
Question.
we had a friend that
Well, first off, I know once again, like, then they try to put you in a box, like, oh, you can only make found footage movies. So that was kind of annoying and kind of an uphill battle. And
Did they throw scripts at you, Kerry, that they said, "Oh, we want you to go
no
do this
one
found
is
footage"?
still does throw nothing. They throw garbage at me. We, so we, trying to get that made. In the meantime, we made another film that is amazing called Imminence that you should check out. If you think Amber Alert's good, this is just as good. It's a film that Summer and I made that Summer will talk to you about and tell
well, I
you.
was just gonna say that making the first one, I think our friend at Lionsgate was really impressed with what we could do with so little money. And same with Imminence. We also made that on a bigger budget than the original, our first film, but also at a not a huge budget. And so when they saw that one, they were like very impressed with what we could do with lower budgets, and they wanted to give us a good budget to. And they're like, "What else do you have?"
Yeah, so we sent them the script of Amber Alert.
The kind of original idea that Kerry had of, a traditional film.
So without going into specifics, did you make a little money on the first Amber Alert?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, good. So you could put some of that money into Imminence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's
All we
great.
do is put our own money into our projects. So that's kind of,
Right.
So did you go back into the Amber Alert script and augment it to make it a bigger film?
Yeah, and with technology, we wrote that script like 11 years ago.
Right.
So
it's more of a reimagining of the original.
yeah, definitely a reimagining. It's not, the same to me well, there are maybe similarities, but like
there were things that worked that we kept in, and then
yeah, conceptually, because the idea now is like a bigger world. We have the police, we have 911 operator, we have a mother. The scope is so much bigger than before just two people in a car. So we're able to make it bigger and follow other storylines while we're still following Jack and Shane as they follow this Amber Alert. And certain things like technologically 11 years ago you didn't get Amber Alerts on your phone. It was just the big signs. So certain things,
we're able to be updated.
Yeah.
So I noticed in the credits, I think Hayden Panettiere has a producing credit on the picture. So obviously she brought a lot more than just herself to the set. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, both Tyler and Hayden came on as producers and helped us get it made.
So how did you get to Hayden? I know that getting name actors involved in any film these days is one of the great tasks for independent filmmakers. What was was WME once again helping you here, or is it something you had to do on your own?
They were very friendly, and they did help in different aspects of our film and helped us try to get it cast. But actually, it really helped when we brought on a amazing casting director.
Yep. Super amazing.
So Lionsgate, did Lionsgate
Jessica
become
Kelly.
Jessica Kelly? Yeah, she was awesome. Jessica Kelly. Yeah.
I was just going to ask, Lionsgate comes on board. Are they giving you some decent money now to make the movie? I mean, you told me that you made the original for 5,000.
The most we've ever made a film with.
Yeah, very good question. That's still very subjective to me. It's like the money that Marvel would spend on their water bottle budget at craft service.
Well, we are super grateful to have a budget that we were able to make this.
Very grateful, but it's still in my mind a very small indie film.
Oh, sure, of course, of course. So tell me, how did Hayden hear about this? Who got to Hayden?
So Jessica
And Tyler came on first.
Tyler came on first. Okay, we're talking about
Yes.
Tyler James Williams, plays
Yeah.
Shane.
Mm-hmm.
And we should
And
probably
then
tell the audience, since a lot of the people who are listening or watching the podcast haven't seen Amber Alert. So basically, why don't you guys just give the setup of what's happening in this movie?
So the story is Jack is running from her office. She's late to she's going on a blind date, and she gets her Uber or her ride share, I might say, go where. And as she gets in her ride and takes off, she gets an Amber Alert on her phone, and she thinks it might be the car next to her. So she, buckle up.
Yeah, her and Tyler
craziness ensues.
discuss it, and she talks him into following it and seeing where it leads.
And meanwhile, he's supposed to be at his son's birthday party, and
Yes, it's
obviously
his last
he and his
ride
wife
of the
are
day.
he and his wife are estranged, and she's entirely pissed off at him. And what I found very interesting about this movie is both characters did not want to be where they are at. Jack was on her way to a blind date, and Tyler was going to see his son, who he loved very much. So I felt the frustration, but I also felt the mission, which was very cool.
Yeah, we needed to have, you need that that drama. Like, if they're both going nowhere, then where are they going? So they both needed to be going somewhere. They needed to be kind of time sensitive, and then
we wanted that choice not to be super easy, that they had to. There was a little bit of a struggle with, we all are busy, and when those come onto your phone, it's not the most convenient time. And the two different characters, and Tyler's a little more hesitant. He wants to get on with his day, and Hayden kind of drives the force of really taking it very serious.
Well, being a parent, and I know you guys are parents, and a lot of the people listening and watching are parents, the movie opens in a very terrifying way. I mean, you at a very tranquil park, you have kids playing, and all of a sudden there's a car stalking a little girl. And within seconds, she's gone. And I have to tell you that the actress who played the mom, I completely felt her extreme pain when she calls 911. And I thought that a lot of these suspense thrillers have to really come out of the box like a rocket. And I thought you really did a terrific job of setting the tone right off the bat.
Oh, thank you. We had a lot of time to really like work on the script and fine tune it, and I think just having time to make sure that you have that good setup, that you have all those things is important. But like you said, she was great. Katie was, was awesome. Summer, as awesome was Jessica Kelly, was our main casting director, and her partner Stacy Rice were awesome. Summer did all of our local castings in Louisville, and so Summer found Katie, and which was awesome. And Summer also found our bad guy, Kurt. He actually auditioned for another role, but Summer was like, "Hey, Kerry, I think we should check out Kurt for this role." And, Summer's got an eye for talent. So.
Yes, you do, Summer. Good choices. How the heck did you end up did you say Louisville?
Louisville, that's where we shot, yeah.
Yeah, why Louisville? How did you end up in Louisville?
One good thing about our film is that we could see it in a lot of different cities, even though it was written for Phoenix, Arizona, which is the kidnapping capital of the U.S.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Watch out.
But we could see it taking place in so many places across the country, which was great. Then we got to look at, from a producer's point of view, which areas would have the best tax incentives for filming. And Kentucky has a really good one. And so it kind of checked all the boxes. And we went out and did a location scout and found some really cool places. And Kerry really loved the lushness.
Yeah, and then when we decided there, then we just kind of swapped out a bunch of things for Kentucky and made it, just made it more Kentucky feeling. And so, because at first, it's like this desert, and so we would catch things in the script where the local crew was like, "Hey, we don't have deserts here," and we're like, "Oh yeah, you're right." So we'd have to like switch things around or put in different things. They helped us with like locations, towns.
What type of roads would make sense to be on?
Yeah.
From the city, and then 10, 15 minutes later, what type of road you'd be on. We really relied a lot on Sally, our designer.
When you were doing your original scripting, did you talk to any law enforcement people about protocols for what happens on an Amber Alert?
Yeah, we have friends with a couple like local officers that we talk to. We've spent time with a 911 officer, and we learn kind of the lay of the land when you cross into different counties, things intersect.
Yeah, like what things could go wrong.
Yeah.
So that we could use real life things that made sense to also elongate the film. And
yeah,
I noticed in just looking up Amber Alert on Wikipedia, I didn't realize that Amber is actually the name of a little girl who was abducted and killed.
Yeah, Amber Hagerman in 1996, unfortunately, just out in front of her house, and someone actually saw like the taillights of the car, and they, at that time they only had like kids on milk cartons. You could try to call the radio station, and unfortunately, they found her, a short time afterwards. And yeah, her family went to Congress and got.
Like, you have to find something faster. We have to have a system quicker than this.
And
Sure.
so, yeah, that's named, in memory of her, the Amber Alerts. And I think that's great. And with technology now, we can see them so fast too, instead of just having the big signs. And the quickness that they got to find these kids is very important, or it's not good.
Now, I think you said that the first Amber Alert you shot in a couple of weeks. How long a schedule did you have on the new Amber Alert?
This one we had 19 days.
Oh, okay. That's a decent schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I want 30 days, obviously, but when you're shooting, days cost money. So, we had to take out a handful of stunts and a bunch of things, but we kept like the meat and potatoes of the film in there, and when you just have to make it work.
Yeah, for the listeners and viewers who haven't seen the movie, it's just it really has a propelling energy to it that you get caught up into it so easily. I was just going to pull up a picture here for those of you who can see. This is the Camry. Of course, the bad guy is driving a Camry, and it's pointed out that there are more Camrys on the road than any other car. Given all the Camrys in the movie, or at least one main Camry, did you get any help from the Camry people?
I mean, I think Honda should have gave us millions of dollars for all the free advertising they gave us, but I think.
Yeah, I don't know how excited they'd be about our bad guy driving one. So no, we're on our own.
I mean,
so is Honda Camry? I thought Toyota was. It's
no,
Honda.
Yeah, Toyota's the Camry.
Toyota's the Camry. So what am I looking at here?
This is a Honda from.
This is a Honda. So
and
who's
the original?
Yeah, or this is the first version of it.
Oh, this is from the first version. Oh, okay. I pulled this off of the internet, so I thought this was from the new version. Okay, no wonder this is not a Camry. So ixnay this picture.
Yeah, hard.
Now here's another picture of. Let's see if I pull this up here. Now, is that you, Kerry?
Yes,
yeah, that is me, and
that's you. And who's that?
That's me with brown hair.
I said Okay, so this is a behind the scenes shot with you with brown hair now. Okay. Were you play you're not are you playing a character in the movie? Are you in the movie?
I am not. I just
She
produced.
was playing the producer and I was playing the director. Yes, was that not funny? Yeah.
Here's another shot I pulled off. Let's see. This was a group shot. I thought maybe you could tell me
Oh
who
yeah.
these people are, since I have no idea who they are from, let's say from far right, our right. Why don't you tell me who these people are?
Sure, Summer would love to.
So starting with the guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
Let's go with
Or-
the wild mustache guy.
So Sean was one of our associate producers or co-producers.
Co-producer.
He also did a lot of the behind the scenes video and stills for
Okay.
us. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he does the EPK.
Really fun. We have Luca next, who's our DP, who's fabulous.
Luca was our partner in crime. Luca was very integral of getting this what we needed. We had some days that half the days were ruined because of weather and we couldn't shoot, and Luca understood the assignment of what we need to do, and so he was very grateful for Luca.
Next we have
I was just going to say, what camera did you use on this version of Amber Alert?
We used the RE Mini to shoot this.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on, Summer.
Next up, we've got Kurt, who plays the character in the film. And then next is the mother. Katie does an exceptional job.
Right.
Next up, we have Joe, who is one of our producers. Myself, with blonde hair this time.
Right.
We got Kerry Liel, who was an on-set producer with me. Him and I produced it on the location together. And then last but not least, we have Alex, who was a co-producer.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for identifying these people. You obviously are the people who are the only people who could identify them all, which is perfect. Well, you get an opportunity to have your dream come true because you're making a movie with, this time, real money. Any particular challenges you faced on this version? I mean, it looks pretty slick through most of the movie, and it looks like you achieved most of your goals. Are there certain things you would have liked to have more time for? Of course, directors always want more time.
I mean, weather was a huge thing that we almost didn't get our film finished because our last day of shooting, there was lightning. Power went out, and it was the night that the SAG strike was supposed to start at midnight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Luckily, they ended up pushing it a week. And so we were able to have one more day of shooting to make up for that day that the lightning.
Yeah, we had to shut everything down, and we didn't have a finished film. It was like sad and depressing, sitting in the corner crying of like, what is going on? Tyler had a heart out, was hopping on a plane.
Mm-hmm. So we ended up the day that the Monday. So I think it was
a Friday.
So we shot on a Monday, that next Monday.
We got one more day.
Tyler couldn't come back. So we ended up talking his stand-in into cutting his hair. And we used the back of him for that whole day.
Yeah, our boy Trey was.
And we had to try to work around it, and it worked, and we got a film.
Yeah, and only Hayden came back because, it was crazy. That was not ideal.
No.
Did you have a problem with the strike and getting actors for ADR?
Well,
by the time we were in post, it was done.
Yeah.
The strike was over. So it was really good timing.
Yeah, because then we just edited it, did all of our music,
color correction, all that
sound design, and then at the very end it finished. And
nice score.
Yeah.
Don Miggs is our composer. He did an amazing job.
Yeah, I love our score so much.
You can get it on Spotify.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Yeah, it's one of those very perfect ominous scores that are perfect for thrillers. It's funny. All films are the same in the sense that you get so caught up in the making of it, you don't really know what you have until you start to put it all together. I mean, especially a thriller like this, which is so propulsive. I mean, it's, you're going from moment to moment trying to save this little girl. And of course, you had made the previous version, which you loved. So obviously you knew what you had. So you probably were a little more confident than most filmmakers.
I mean, I was confident because we knew that our little film was good. We also knew that our script was really good, and we could pitch this to people in one sentence, and everyone was always captivated. They're always like, I always wondered that. What would I do? It's like a think piece, kind of like you always want to know, are you like Hayden? Are you like Tyler? Are you in the middle? And I think it does make you think, like, what would you do? Go to Denny's after and be like, was she right? Was he right? Well, and that's the thing making it was that we never wanted to preach to you. That was never the goal. The goal was always we wanted to present a situation of two ordinary people in an extraordinary situation and kind of
Let you make your own decisions.
Yeah. And I don't know if there is a right or wrong decision. There's some people that Josh is like the complete opposite. Josh is like Shane, but he's like, I would not be involved in any of this. I'm freaked out.
I might make a call, but
it's not my responsibility. And I'm the complete polar opposite, where I am
you're
like
more Hayden's character.
Hayden, like on crack. I'd think that I'd like think I'm Vin Diesel. I'd try to jump on the hood or whatever. And Summer is very, I think, right down the middle and is more centered, like, and think straight. So it was good. The three of us were always kind of
discussing and
yeah.
I think
The three of us were working on this for years and years before anyone else came on,
Nobody really knows how they're going to react in situations like this until it happens. I mean, whatever the situation, even if you're walking down the street and somebody's beating on somebody, are you going to interfere? I mean, we all sometimes face moments, and it can be, it's often it's the adrenaline. What can you do? Or having a nice crowbar with you so that you walk in there just with your hands. No, they're very, very true. Very, very true. Well, guys, this movie is so exciting. My writing partner, I told him that we were doing this interview tonight. He says, "Oh, I saw their movie on Wilshire Boulevard at the music hall. He saw it on the big screen and loved it."
Oh, tell him thank you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So you got a little bit of a theatrical release.
Yeah, we got a limited theatrical release.
It was fun to get to see it on the big screen and hear people's reactions and get to watch it with we saw it in Nashville, Tampa, Arizona, and LA. We got to go to different screenings in all those cities. So it was super fun.
Were you able to enter it into a festival?
We didn't go the festival route.
Yeah, we already had our distributor and they kind of decided those things.
Nashville Film Festival is where it started, but we didn't do the whole film festival.
Yeah, we already had a distribution date. We already knew.
And Nashville's worked within our time frame, so it was great to show it there.
They're kind of the pros with marketing films and where it needs to be, so we really kind of trusted them. And
Lionsgate.
Yeah, Lionsgate with all that stuff.
So did they license it to a streamer or is it all over the place?
Right now it is on Apple and iTunes. Amazon and a few other places.
Like Vudu, Google Play.
Yes. And then we'll see where we go after that.
Yeah, I think they're working out some type of deals with some streamers. So, we'll let you know. But the word of mouth has been really phenomenal. We've been very fortunate. Like it broke the top 10 on iTunes or Apple.
It's Apple now, I think.
Apple now, which is crazy. Our little film, it was like one of the top ones on Amazon. I think it jumped to number 11 or 10 or something. So, we've had great word of mouth and everyone likes to talk about this movie. And what would you do?
No, actually, it's also, I always find that movies that involve child endangerment like this, are good for the public to learn how to be alert, being aware of things and just knowing that these things can happen. So most people who make a successful thriller, one of the questions that are always asked is there going to be a Amber Alert 2?
I mean,
He's got some ideas.
we have a bunch of ideas that,
that could work.
That would work. And
so we'll see.
So yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. I don't. No one's came to me yet, so maybe we'll see.
What are you working on at the moment?
Well, Summer just finished producing a film. What, 2 months ago, a month ago in Utah? She was there for a couple months.
Oh.
And so we're in post-production on that, and then we are pitching Kerry's next project that is really cool.
Yeah,
I don't think we can talk about it yet, but
is it another thriller?
It is a thriller, more on the action side.
More like an action thriller, a little bigger budget, a little, yeah. So we're in the process of figuring that out too.
Well, the Amber Alert I saw, the bigger Amber Alert, has some very strong visual images. I was going to ask you if you had to talk about the directors perhaps that have influenced you as a filmmaker in terms of how you set up your shots and what you go for in your scene construction. Do you have anybody that comes to mind, Kerry, that has influenced your work?
Well, from like telling a story, I grew up, I was like a Spielberg kid,
Okay.
like the emotion, I always, would always feel those, E.T., I watched it recently with my kids. I'm still crying, like I always liked and appreciated him for like bringing everything together, the emotion, the characters, the visuals. And then like if you're talking like specific visuals, like I think that we like rip off of like Ridley Scott quite often because I think he's a visual wizard. Um, and I also was watching a lot of like I think Villeneuve, who did like Prisoners, the Dune movies at the time. Well, I was really watching a lot of True Detective season 1 also, which is fascinating.
So
And I
when
like,
when you come to the set, excuse me, when you come to the set, do you have your shots already in your head, written down, ready to go, or are you
well,
yeah?
yeah, the great question. I think I was kind of naive to the fact that like kind of like your crane thing, there's a lot of things that Josh and I storyboarded. And then we realized on our first day or two that we're going to have to light these storyboards on fire because,
Yeah, you storyboard it with the house here, but the location we have is set up totally different.
Yeah. Like if it would have been all the storyboards, we would have shot for like 75 days. So the one thing that was almost shot for shot was the very opening of the film as you're following the car.
It looked like a drone shot.
The girl's little shoe. We went out actually and shot that, kind of our little animatics. That was one thing that was almost frame by frame.
How you planned it.
How we planned it. But yeah, there's so many other variables that are just hard on this little budget to try to do that. But yeah, we had storyboards and then.
So you planned a bunch, but then you had to kind of wing it.
Yeah, and then just working with Luca on getting our shot list, because you finish the day, and then you have to prep for the next day, and it is a kiss of death if you have no idea what you're doing the next day because everyone's asking you questions. What are you doing? So it is it's quite the marathon, but it's all in preparation. And I'll be honest, I was surrounded with amazing people. I mean, Summer is the best producer. I mean, even though she sometimes rubs me the wrong way because she'll like tell me something
I'm
That's
too honest.
she's very honest. She's my biggest fan and biggest critic.
So who's saying that you got to get moving here? You know, we're losing the light.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But the thing is, it sucks is that she's always right, which
But
is annoying.
I'll also
But
fight for him if it's
yes,
something he needs for the story or
yes.
that's integral for the film.
So yeah, we've been married almost 22 years in January, and yeah. So it was great to have her and the people that we have. Like the Kentucky crew is that's like our family now. They were awesome. We only brought Luca, I think, our cinematographer, and I think Jacob, our focus puller, but everyone else were locals and they were amazing. We
It's
just
really fun to shoot there.
fun to shoot there. We were like such a family. They kind of knew our story. It took us over 10 years to get this film made, and they really got behind us and were just excited to be part of it was just a big family doing something fun and
Now,
exciting.
a lot of the movie takes place in the car,
Yeah.
obviously, because Jack and Shane are in the car. When you're shooting car shots, where you're right on top of the two people in the front seat, are you shooting? What kind of rig are you using, Kerry? Are you on the hood with a camera looking in through the front windshield, or do you remove the windshield? How do you shoot things like
Yeah,
that?
good question. So we spent 7 days on a process trailer. So yeah, on our first one, we were just like dangerous stunt people. Like they were driving the car, doing illegal like it's crazy. So now when there's a lot of different parameters, and it's also for safety. You have to have um, the process trailer, and then we were able to put the camera in different places. We had the windshield because if we didn't have the windshield, the sound would be so loud and the wind would be. But yeah, Luca and I and the
I'm
team.
sorry, you said you had the windshield. Did you mean you had the windshield removed, or you?
No, it
No,
was not removed. If
it
it
was not.
was, it would have been so loud and the
Even on
wind.
even on the process stage?
Oh yeah, the
Process
process
trailer.
trailer.
So
We were pulling it.
we were
Oh,
pulling it
you're
on those
moving.
different roads.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so the car itself is sitting on a trailer as it's moving down the road. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. That's great. That's great. Well, it's again, the movie is Amber Alert, and if you haven't seen it, run to see this wherever you can see it. And it was such a delightful movie, and we look forward to your next efforts as well as Summer. What's the name of the movie you just did finished?
I just finished a dark romantic comedy called Too Soon. So that'll be out next year, early next year.
Oh, fab. Are you in it as an actress as well?
I just produced this one.
Okay, got it. Got it. Very good. Well, guys, this has been great. Your story is a great one. I know a lot of the young filmmakers who listen to our show will be interested in the process, and then of course all the suspense thriller fans will be feasting on this. Everyone, you've been listening to Saturday Night at the Movies. I'm your host, Steve Rubin. Our producer is I'm losing my head. Is Ben Shrewsbury, and our signature theme was done by Greg Learhoff. And if you are a fan of the show, we're now on a YouTube channel, so you can check us out at Stephen J. Rubin Saturday Night at the Movies. We spell out the J, Jay, and we're on all the podcast platforms. And please subscribe to everything. It's free, and we promise to keep giving you interesting interviews like this. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Steve.
much.
We appreciate it. Good luck.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.